I will now recognize myself for an opening statement. Again, I want to welcome everyone here today to another hearing of the Subcommittee on Oversight. Today, we're going to focus on one very simple truth. We need to restore the rule of law in America's high crime cities. And let's be honest about something from the very start. Crime just didn't rise and come about on its own. It happened because leaders chose so. Leaders in the Democratic-run cities have made political choices. Choices that put radical ideology before safety, politics before people, and criminals before the safety of the good people in our communities. For years, these cities have embraced soft on crime prosecutors, eliminated cash bail, reduced penalties for repeat offenders. They empowered criminals. They undermined law enforcement. They weakened the very fabric that keeps our families safe. And here is the truth, the simple truth. It's not complicated. It is just reality. When you reward criminal behavior, you get more of it. It's that simple. When you take away consequences, you get chaos. When you weaken the rule of law, you hurt the very people that you claim to protect. In Charlotte, a community that this committee, many of us on this committee, we went to Charlotte, and we saw firsthand in a field hearing, they tried to, quote, reimagine criminal justice. Do you know what happened when the reimagining delivered? Repeat offenders walking the streets over and over and over again. Charlotte was quite an experience. Now, we've gone as a full committee to New York City, we've gone to Philadelphia, then this committee actually went to Charlotte. And we saw the work of the left-wing magistrates, of the left-wing judges, of the left-wing attorneys general, of the left-wing prosecutors, the results, the death, the mayhem, and the chaos. It's real. It's not funny. And you know, when we talk to the people in Charlotte, I'll never forget the father of the one young lady. And I believe, and I don't even have this in front of me, I'm digressing for a minute, but this woman was pulled out of her bed, stripped naked, had to get down on her knees, God knows what, and then the perpetrator took a shotgun, put it to her chest, and took her life. The father was there. Man, I wish each and every one of you could have seen that father. He was so upset. He was shaking. He was crying. This was a grown man. Any of us that are parents, any of us that love anybody in our lives, you can't imagine. You can't, I said at the time, I said, I wish I could say to you, I know how you feel. I don't. Nobody here, unless you've lost somebody, and we do have somebody who has, nobody knows how you feel. We don't. But you could see it. The guy who did it, he was the perpetrator, was charged over 40 times and released over and over and over and over. I won't do it 40 sometimes again. It's sick. And people are living with fear instead of freedom. And we remember another case, the murder of Irina Zarutska. That's why we went to Charlotte, a murder that should have never happened, a murder committed by a criminal who obviously had deep-seated problems and was released not one or two or three times, 14 times. 14 times. Irina loved America. She sat down in the train, and he came up behind her. She never met him, never saw him, didn't even look at him, and he violently stabbed her in her neck and murdered her in front of everybody on that train. She loved America. Her family actually had her. She loved America so much, her family, she was Ukrainian, had her buried in America because she had such hopes and such desires and such ambitions. The city of Memphis continues to lead the nation in violent crime, and not in spite of policy decisions, but because of them. The district attorney in Shelby County, backed by George Soros, fact, you may not like it, but it's true, turned cash bail into a last resort. And when you make accountability a last resort, you make public danger the first result. Again and again, criminals are released. Again and again, they commit crimes. Again and again, innocent people pay the price over and over. It isn't justice, ladies and gentlemen. It's not compassion. It's the literal definition of insanity. It's failure. It's cruel. It's unfair to law-abiding citizens, plain and simple. Los Angeles, another town. You can name any of them. Almost every city in America, almost. Career criminals, rapists, cop killers are given leniency through special directives that prioritize ideology over good public safety. The result is predictable. Gangs have been emboldened, communities have been terrorized, and a once great American city has been hollowed out again by lawlessness. The city of Chicago. Everybody knows about Chicago. Still the murder capital of America, still drowning in violence, and still doubling down on the same bad ideas like eliminating cash bail and making pre-trial release the default. Just last week, a Chicago man known for serially punching women, just walks right up to them, and it's women always, walks right up to her, big guy too, by the way, big guy, and just punches her in the face. So I don't have any words. He was arrested and released for the 20th time. God help you if you're a woman and you're walking down that street. And maybe after he's done, you're not even recognizable anymore. It's nice for you, isn't it? Nice for your family because of the policies we have. If he wasn't released, it wouldn't happen. 20 times back on the streets. In what world are these politicians living in when they design laws that make it easier for someone like that to be released over and over instead of designing laws that protect the women that are continually assaulted? These are dangerous policies. They're bad policies, and they have a predictable outcome. They hamper law enforcement, and they let dangerous people walk our streets. It's that simple. It really isn't that complicated. In fact, I've spoken with law enforcement, true story, not only in Charlotte, but in other areas where we've gone on the road, this committee, who've told me that oftentimes before they're even done writing up the arrest report and somebody has looked at it, before that even happens, they're watching the person being released. They're not even done with the report, and they're already out. It's an upside-down world. It's a bizarro world. It's a sick world that we live in, and it has to stop. For 4 long years, the past administration, the Biden-Harris administration, encouraged this mentality, encouraged soft-on-crime policies, encouraged the unraveling of law and order in what was our beautiful, sparkling cities. That changed earlier this year. And I know not everybody's going to agree with me on this, but it did. Since President Trump was sworn back in office, he has done what he always said he would do. There was no surprise here. Restore common sense, restore law and order, restore accountability. And in August, President Trump deployed the National Guard and federal agents to support local police right here in Washington, D.C. And people tell me, oh, they exaggerate in Washington, nothing happens. Well, I just think of the people that I know. I think of the gentleman from Kansas whose intern was murdered in Washington, D.C. How does his family feel? This young intern comes to D.C. to learn, and he never leaves because he's killed, he's murdered. Or in my office alone, where we've had, just in my office, numerous people that have been attacked on the streets in the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. And the stories go on and on. We have other members that were carjacked. I can go through the list. I'm not going to do it. It's wrong. And you know what? It's not funny when it happens to you. It's really serious. In August, President Trump deployed all these folks, and what happens when you enforce the law? Crimes went down, safety went up, over 4,000 arrests, and an 11% drop in crime citywide, 11% drop in just a few months. Words don't do that. Ideology doesn't do that. Press conferences don't do that. Action does that. Real action, tough action, necessary action. And because it worked, because results speak louder than slogans, other cities, many of them, are asking for the same help. In September, National Guard units were deployed to Memphis and Portland. Plans are underway for Chicago as well. And of course, in many of these cities, Democrat officials are fighting it every step of the way, fighting safety, fighting accountability, fighting success. And in some areas where there are deployed people who live in the neighborhoods, who live in the areas, we had some folks, even in DC, said it was the first time in years that they had walked up and down their streets in safety. In years. They were so happy. We are here today because the American people do deserve better. They deserve leaders who are going to protect them and take care of them. They deserve prosecutors who enforce the law. They deserve cities where criminals fear consequences and families feel safe. To our witnesses, I want to thank you for being here. I know it's your precious time. I thank you for speaking on behalf of communities living through the nightmare of bad policy and failed leadership. I even thank the folks that are going to disagree with me. We look forward to your testimony. Thank you. I now will recognize the ranking member, Ms. Crockett.